Hi there. On weekends, we do reruns so that yours truly can take a couple days off. Look for a fresh new episode on Monday. Meanwhile, please enjoy this episode for this day from a previous year. I thank you so much for your indulgence and loyalty, and have a great weekend. Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for August 24th. August 24th is the 236th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 237th in leap years, with 129 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is meraki. Meraki. I think the more correct pronunciation is meraki, and what a fascinating rabbit hole researching meraki turned out to be. It's another amazing word that I didn't find in any of the English dictionaries that I used to look things up. So, thank goodness for the internet. From several sources, I find the word meraki came to English from Greek. The Greeks got it from Turkish, where it came from an Arabic word that means politeness, courtesy, flair, elegance, qualities we can all aspire to. In Greek, meraki might have a variety of meanings depending on the context in which one is using it. Meraki may be described as passion, intense desire, even sorrow or zeal for the actualization of a desire, or the emotions associated with such zeal. Meraki may also be described as joy or good mood. Meraki may be a word that is hard to pin to one particular explanation, like the word sisu that we saw the other day. But yes, meraki can mean passion as one who pays attention to detail, and may be generally translated to indicate the quality of the way one puts themselves into whatever they do. This leads to a definition more in the manner of the quality of doing a thing with soul, creativity, or love, to put something of the essence of yourself into your work, doing something with creativity, passion, and love. Meraki. The word meraki was suggested by one of my viewers, and I thank you so much for that suggestion. What a great word. And if you have a word you'd like us to explore in this Word of the Day section, pop it in the comments. We'll take a look at it. And with that, the Visigoths were a fierce, tribal Germanic people. Sometimes they could get along with the Romans, and sometimes not so much, and mostly that depended on the quality of the rulers in charge, on both sides actually. Theodosius I had been a pretty good ruler, but he died in the year 395, leaving his young sons in charge. Unfortunately, one of them was just a little boy of about 10 or so years old, Arcadius. He inherited the East. The other one was an inexperienced, impressionable teenager, Honorius, who got the West. They both needed guidance by regents, and there were a lot of ambitious people trying to jostle their way to the top. The Visigoth king Alaric I had managed to be appointed military commander of the East, and Stilicho was general of the West. As I said, there were a lot of ambitious people trying to elbow their way into positions of power, and one such yahoo manipulated Honorius into believing that Stilicho was a traitor until Honorius agreed to Stilicho's assassination. A lot of other people were killed too for no good reason, and this raised the ire of the Visigoths. Don't ever do that, by the way. Don't commit stupid acts that will infuriate the Visigoths. But these particular foolish, self-serving Romans did exactly that, and the Visigoths, well, they rampaged into Italy in the summer of the year 410, and on August 24th in the year 410, the Visigoths began pillaging Rome. This is the birthday of classical guitarist, composer, singer, writer, comedian, and poet Mason Williams, born August 24, 1938. I was surprised to learn that he was a comedy writer. He wrote for the Smothers Brothers, the Glenn Campbell Good Time Hour, and even Saturday Night Live. He was born in Texas, but lived a good bit of his life growing up in Oklahoma. Graduated from class in high school in the 1950s, probably about 4 years after my dad did. If the name Mason Williams seems familiar to you, you might remember his song Classical Gas, which we'll talk about in the Song of the Day section. Mason Williams is still alive, turns 85 in 2023. Happy birthday, Mason Williams. Now, before we move on to today's song, let me remind you that I've been doing this for a while, at least long enough to have previous episodes for August 24th, like the Panic of 1857, RFID implants, and little old God bless him Pluto, just to name a few. And I'll include a link for you if you'd like to review one of those old vids for August 24th. In honor of Mason Williams' birthday, today's song is Classical Gas. Released in 1968, Classical Gas is a guitar instrumental with instrumental backing by the Wrecking Crew. If you've been watching me for a while, you might remember we have mentioned the Wrecking Crew before. They were a loose collective of session musicians, many of whom broke out into their own careers, like Leon Russell and Glenn Campbell, just to name a couple. I'll have to do an episode about the Wrecking Crew sometime, but today we're talking about the song Classical Gas by Mason Williams. It got up to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 1 on the Billboard Easy Listening 100, and number 1 on the U.S. Cashbox Top 100. Great song, sure enough. As always, I'll leave a link, so if it's been a while since you've heard it, you can click right over and listen to it again, and if you haven't ever heard it before, you should check it out. Classical Gas by Mason Williams. Link in the description. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page that is called No Really. And you can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Oh, get your microphone. Okay. Phone over there. Hello. Okay. With 202 days remaining to the end of the world. End of the year. Please, not the end of the world. 202 days remaining to the end of the year. Let's read that one again. Maybe I should ask Google how to pronounce that.
How do you go about pronouncing his name? Paulo Coelho.
Coelho.
Paulo Coelho. Pretty straightforward once you know. Paulo Coelho.
Google is so smart. Yep, it is. That's what it's called. All right. Attracting. Just read the whole thing over. You know what? Maybe we can leave that one off. Don't alienate people who can be helpful to you. Flinging happiness all over the place. I don't know. Can I get this edited? Let's find out. Alrighty. Back to work. I think we got it this time.